Good morning, you bad, beautiful bitches. You real special treat here. Actor, comedian, TikTok maniac on the internet. Ian Brownhill sits down on the No Limits podcast. Sit back, relax, hugs and kisses. You did a similar move that I did for the ring shopping, which was you have her go and pick it out.
Yep.
Which, bro, A-list all-time move. You are a hot take. You're a bozo if you pick out the ring and don't consult your significant other. Okay.
Yeah.
Boom. Clip that one up, Pearly. All right. Like it's. I couldn't recommend it enough. And when you said you did the same thing, I was like, oh. Now we can also blurb that out because I don't know if she knows that a ring is coming. So
I mean, like she knows, but I haven't like set a date in my mind or anything like that. So she knows it's on the way, but like she doesn't know the exact day I'm going to do it.
Okay,
and all that
hell
kind
yeah,
of stuff. So
hell yeah,
that part is still a secret. But yeah, it just made it so much easier.
Yeah,
because like
the way to go.
I just like immediately my male ego was like, I'm going to know what to do, and then I started looking. I was like, dude, this is gonna be on our finger forever. It's the ego check of being like, I'd rather you just get this now than me pick this. We show the world. And then a month later, you're like, hey, by the way, can we go fix this?
Yeah.
Can we?
Could you imagine? You propose, you're covered in barf.
Yeah, and like everyone sees the ring.
Is it
and
that
then
bad?
I mean, the internet's brutal too. They notice everything.
Oh
3 weeks
God,
later,
yeah.
that's not the ring that was in the picture, Ian.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. And dude, that you're so right. That I went in there as a guy that can't even spell clarity, you know, and they're like, oh, what kind of clarity would you like? What kind of cut? And I'm like,
I didn't even know that.
I'm like, defer to, my counterpart here for all those answers. So I was like, you let me know.
Do you want a pearl? And I'm like, no, I'm here for a diamond. They're like, no, pearl's a cut.
Right.
Like, okay.
Is it? Yeah. I was like, sure, great.
We have more keys.
Yeah.
Where's he working? I don't know.
Another hot take for you.
Yes.
Which I think we're going to align on this. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
I saw a video on this, so I think we'll be best friends after this. Your lobster roll.
Yes.
Hot or cold?
I'm a hot guy.
Yes.
I'm a hot guy. Like, cold lobster is like it's so finicky. It has to be done so right.
Yeah.
It has to be like the time of day. And here's the difference. A cold lobster roll feels like a snack to me. A hot lobster roll feels like a meal.
It's a dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I eat a hot lobster roll, I could do maybe one or two and it feels filling. But like a cold one, I feel like, okay, you gave me the appetizer.
Like, where's
great salad, but can I have my meal now? You know what I mean?
I am so. Are you hot or cold, Hurley?
I kind of like cold.
Man. There's always one in the group.
Now hiring a producer here at No Limits Podcast.
Just get out. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That I've had them both, love them both, but man, I just cozy up and do a hot lobster roll. Oh,
plus I'm so weird.
God.
Like I'm not a huge I don't love mayonnaise.
Yes. Okay.
You know what? Like, and my girl checks me on this all the time because she's always like, I put mayonnaise on all your sandwiches. I'm like, yeah.
She's wearing like a mayonnaise face mask.
I'm like, yeah. I was like, when it's on the bread, it's like a little bit, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But like when you eat like a cold one, that thing is like mushed and covered in it.
Yes.
Same with like tuna. And I'm like,
you're
a little bit I can take, but not too much.
Yeah, 100%.
But a hot one, smother me in that Kerrygold butter.
Yeah, see?
Salted.
What is you mentioned earlier, what is that, the company you, is it you partnered with down in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Is that where was that video taken of you did a couple, but you did the lobster roll one on there, and then I saw like the clam chowder video.
One, yeah.
Is that what's it, is it Iggy's?
It's called Iggy's.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up going there. I grew up in the Warwick Neck area. Well, my mom's from Warwick Neck in the Warwick, Rhode Island area.
Yeah.
I went to school in the area as well. So I grew up going to Iggy's all the time.
Gotcha.
And then they were actually one of the first companies that reached out to me about creating content.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. And it was like the very first one, really. And it was because I was making Rhode Island related videos.
Right.
And they were like, hey, why don't you come in? And when I was done, I was like, there's no way I can do this. I was like, I don't know how to come up with these videos.
Yeah,
I was like, these people believe in me way too much.
Yeah.
Like I'm an actor. I'm not like a content. I'm not an influencer. I only got a couple 100 views here and there. Like nothing had really taken off yet. So I was definitely like second guessing myself a lot. But they pushed the needle. They followed up with me again 3 months later, and I did it. And then
Wow.
like these guys I swear they're like family. The guy that Dave that's in them all the time,
Yep.
he's the funniest. We have such a good time.
It seems it in your videos. Like it, I'm always looking for, you you probably know this actually coming from like the acting world. Like I'll constantly look at like extras in videos.
That's my favorite.
You know what I mean? I can't watch a movie now without seeing the guy like with a broom and the broom's not even touching the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, and it seems like all the extras, like all the staff, owners, co-owners, everyone seems like one big family in there. Like it really seems like a great.
Absolutely. It's a tight knit group because Rhode Island is such a transient place. So the summertime it really gets popping. So everyone just like, a lot of restaurants is what happens. Everyone comes home from school and then everyone is just in each other's space 7 days a week for hours on end. So you gotta like, it's like those reality TV shows.
Yeah,
where it's just
totally.
Like, you throw a bunch of strangers into a room and they all become friends. It's kind of how it happens. So
it's like loosely the plot of the real world.
exactly. I don't want to say they stole it from
strangers.
me, but
yeah. I think MTV owes you a check. Pretty
TM.
sure. How did you? I know you said you got started in acting. How did this all start? And when did this all start? Like, give us the early days of your career and kind of the acting and then transition into the influencer space.
All right. So I came back. So when I was about like 21 to 23, 24, I had lived in Miami.
Oh, let's
so
go.
I was doing personal training for Equinox.
Oh my God.
And I was mostly in sales, really. So I went down there to be a personal trainer.
Okay, gotcha.
I was doing bodybuilding and I was in the fitness industry. Steroid free, as you can tell.
Obviously. For those listening and not viewing, I'm having struggling making eye contact. Very attractive human.
I'm very intimidated by the tank top Kev chose to wear.
It was so strange. It's 80. I was going to wear, I had like basically a similar shirt. I was like, I shouldn't go cut off. I sweat so much.
Yeah.
And it's as probably as you can feel, it's a little hot in the studio here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to go tank. I have to be that guy today. It's
I like
85 and 100 degrees of humidity in here.
Had I known that, I would have done the same.
See, there we go.
But so I moved back from Miami, as everyone mostly from New England does. You go somewhere and you come back.
Yeah.
And I was kind of in between. I had some most of my experience was in the sales world.
Yep.
So I came back and I went back into the finance, banking, and basically sales and banking. And actually, my mom, ironically, has a very good friend who is a hairdresser on set. And she's been on movies for years. And my mom had done background extra. Work
let's
before.
go. Holy shit.
On like short, small films, she would hit up my mom, like, hey, they need a couple extras. So, if you interview my mom, she's a huge personality. She'd be the first one to say, well, Ian is only, it's only because of moi. But it's the truth. And there was one day that they were filming background work at Fenway for The Catcher is a Spy, which was a Paul Rudd film about the Red Sox player who was a spy for like the government, but also
here we go.
an MLB player.
Yep.
And I did it, and I was like immediately hooked because I had done theater growing up.
Yeah.
I was in the arts program in my high school. My girl always makes fun of me because I played basketball and I did arts, and she was like, "This is like High School Musical." And I was like, "What?" And I had never seen it, and I watched. I was like, "Okay, I gotta stop telling people."
They owe you a check. Is what 2 checks. Real World, what's up? High School Musical, what's up?
So once I actually saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, I really have to stop telling people this because I can't sing or dance."
You gotta get in the game.
Yeah, and then honestly, it was like a bug from there. I just started hustling and figuring out ways to get involved. And prior to COVID, I had just joined the Screen Actors Guild union. And
what is that?
So SAG is the union that is correlated with actors, actresses.
Oh, wow.
So like every in the acting world or in the movie world, there are different unions, for like directors, writers. SAG has been on like strike for like 4 or 5 months now. It's a huge
thing. The whole
thing.
writer strike. Yeah.
Yeah. So so I had joined the union and I started doing background work on a lot of movies. And then, when you're an up and coming actor, most of your bread and butter is student films, short films.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been up at all the colleges here in Boston. I did a bunch of student films with them.
Hell yeah.
Made a lot of good friends. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of student films is you meet a lot of up and coming directors and they're so creative and you get to meet so many awesome people. And then, having been in Miami, I really wanted to get on the fitness trend with Instagram. Right. So I tried it, but I was like, okay, I'm not on steroids and like no one cares. Everyone's like, okay, whatever, just another guy in shape.
Yeah.
I didn't have the charisma for the fitness thing. And when TikTok started, it was, a couple months before COVID, and I was kind of paying attention to it. And I was like, okay, I missed YouTube. I missed Instagram. I missed Vine.
Right.
I was like, this could be the thing.
Another wave.
And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start making videos? And I was watching for months and I was like, oh, these are good. But I was like, people got to think of Vine. They got to come up with like original shit. It could be funny. And then anyways, I just started doing it. And then, you know, I always say this in such a regretful tone. I don't know if you had the same experience, but COVID hit.
Yep.
And I took off, and I hate to say it because I'm like, so many people struggled, and it's not like I didn't struggle. I mean, I lost my job, my day job, and I had acting as a backup, but that was completely shut down. I mean, Hollywood's got some of the strictest COVID rules that there were.
Right, seriously.
So I wasn't working at all. I'm collecting unemployment, and I'm home, and I'm just like, I'm going at it with these videos, and I'm trying, and you know, and on top of the fact that like, you know, I'm in a small 1-bedroom apartment with my girl who's like, oh my God. Stop talking to your phone.
Please shut up.
Yeah, please.
How many ring lights do we have? We don't have real lights anymore.
Yeah, and that just
turns on a lamp. It's a ring light.
I think I only used natural light for like the first couple months. And then I struck gold with. I mean, I was creating my New England character, and if you watch my beginning videos, you know, especially, I mean, you think my accent's bad now. You should have seen it when I was first trying it out. It was awful. And then, you know, I struck gold with snow hitting on the day before Halloween.
Yes.
And that was a video that just kind of put me on the map.
car one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one I originally saw.
Yeah, and my flip-flops too. So my flops have become like my slogan. But like, I kid you not, I think it took me like 6 hours to defrost after that video. My feet were
Was that a one-take thing, or were you like, I got to get this right?
It had to have taken me 40, 50 takes. I mean, I was outside, and my neighbors were all concerned.
Keep brushing snow in your car again?
Yeah, exactly. And literally, that's what I was doing. I was picking it up and dumping it on the car because I was like, I got to get this right.
Neighbors like, everything okay over there?
Luckily, I was in one of those communities that had, respectfully, some older folks. So
there we go.
They might have had their hearing aids.
Right. They're probably sleeping. Yes. Yeah. Dude, you're so right, though. In that moment of time, like season 1 of COVID, because we're in the same boat. I also got fired from my day job. Was loosely doing TikToks, like very sporadically here and there.
Right.
And you're so spot on. It was like a moment in time we could all slow down and be like, all right, let's analyze our life choices. Like where can we pivot to next?
Right.
And then boom, everyone in my little community, even like who weren't on social, just had their own business. Same with that. Everyone's just like at home buying, like add to cart. Yeah. Swipe. Like it was such a moment in time, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting time. And you know, I mean, when I started TikTok, I was mostly for a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And I was doing acting stuff. I was dressing up as all the characters of The Office. I was parting my hair like Dwight Schrute. I'm doing full-on voiceover reenactments of these scenes from Friends and New Girl. You know, and I created a following, and it was like a fun community. They was like so supportive.
Yeah.
But once I tried doing my own like original content is when I started to get a little bit lucky.
How'd you find? I'm always curious how people find their groove and kind of their own niche in such a loud space. Like when you did that video of you brushing snow off a car in flip-flops in the snow, was that like premeditated, or were you like...
That was probably like my 14th or 15th video of my New England character.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I had one other one do kind of successful, like 200,000, which for me, I was like...
Calling mom.
Yeah, I was like, Mom, what kind of mansion do you want? I got you covered. 200,000 views.
Marble floors, or what are we thinking?
You know, and yeah, so when the snow started, I do sit down and I do think, I'm like, okay, subject-wise, what can we do?
Right.
So where I'm at now is I riff more than ever. But when I first started, it was like OCD. But the problem is it creates such a block for me when I try and stronghold myself to scripts.
Right.
And
like physically writing, you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much harder because then I'm like, I don't feel myself in the moment. I feel robotic.
Yes.
And 100%. Which is ironic because I consider myself an actor. And then it's like, yeah, I suck at scripts. But I just, you know, it was better for me to just kind of, at this point, to just kind of riff on what's going on during the day.
Right.
So that's why most of my videos are kind of what literally has happened in the last 48 hours in New England.
Right. I see. That's so the way, for me at least. This is why I like never went it's funny, I love consuming skits.
Yeah.
Especially like early days like Key and Peele's.
Oh my
like
God,
when we were like the high school days and Key and Peele's were hot. The Office, less of a skit, more of a show, but those things that are written out, I know they're written out and I still love them.
Right.
But for me, same deal. Creatively, I'm like, oof, if I write out a joke and then if I have to say it, like we do videos now, if we can't get it on the first or second shot, I'm like, we're out.
Not working,
It's
yeah.
not. We'll try again later.
Right.
Like, because then when I play it back, I can see it in my face that I'm now like staged. It's not who I really am.
Yeah.
We're not catching like the moment.
Right.
As if there's just a camera like on our hip,
Right.
which is always what I'm trying to go for.
Right.
Yeah, that's I'm always interested in like influencers and actors' creative process, because I'm the same way. Once I get like a pen and paper in my hand, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it definitely it starts with an idea.
Yeah.
So, like I posted a video yesterday, and I try my best not to be repetitive, and I try to fluctuate back and forth. I keep the staples, like the bad weather,
Yeah.
the traffic. I keep those involved. My Duncan I'm always mentioning my
Yes,
Duncan.
yeah.
But it usually just starts with like a simple idea, and then I just kind of develop it from there.
Yeah, I like that.
And so it takes me a few takes. I am a perfectionist to a fault. My ADD, that's like one of the worst traits I have with it, where I'm just like, well, yesterday I said, my first time I was like, oh, you can go up to Vermont. And then I was like, and then the next one I was like, yeah, so if you go to Vermont, and I'm like, okay, those are two different Vermonts. I gotta
cancel.
Yeah, there's a 1.5 minute video that was
sketch it
good.
out.
Just gotta be redone.
Yeah.
So that's usually why it takes me so many tries.
Right.
But other than that, like I feel it. Like that's the benefit of me filming alone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like it's not like a coordinated effort.
Right.
So I feel
100%.
bad for you guys having to coordinate that together. That's gotta be tough.
Like I'll like it's like a volley for serve. I'll say like, okay, here's the word I'm gonna try to get you to say, and then that's it. And then it's going. She doesn't know like there's no lines.
Right.
Because if I plan it out, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I love watching like your content. I still love Key and Peele's.
Yeah.
Like, that's still in my brain. That's like, you're either like a Key and Peele person creatively, where like you're physically writing it down. You might have like a wardrobe, or you're like, you ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh yeah.
That style of comedy to me, and who knows, behind the curtain, I'm sure that's somewhat scripted, or like, hey, here's our 8 different segments we're gonna have,
Right.
plan accordingly.
Right.
But the way they just riff on stage like that, I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, that is like,
Yeah,
that's where my
that's-
creative brain goes to,
Yeah, the sketch comedy that those guys offer by being able to just do improv on the spot like that
Yeah.
is incredible.
It's amazing. It's such a like muscle in your mind.
Right.
And
it's so funny too. I don't know if this happens, but once you started this, like people might have been critical of it, but now it's like everyone wants to give me ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? They're just like, oh, well, it's a kid's dancing app. And they're like, Ian, what would go viral? And I'm like, okay, do it.
Please,
Yeah.
enlighten me.
Yeah, exactly. And so like you're saying, it's incredible. Like people don't understand how skilled you have to be to remain calm
100%.
and deliver that kind of humor.
Yes.
Without like flubbing a line, screwing it up. And,
Yep.
especially if it's funny, you get excited because you want to say it, that you're like,
100%. And the craziest part is like, as you are growing and evolving, and maybe people you are inspired by or love start to tune in and follow, subconsciously you're making the same type of like bit.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, so and so is going to see this. Like, should I switch this up a bit?
Yeah.
So staying in your like creative lane that, like there's always that saying of like, what got you here is not going to get you to the next level.
Right.
Which I think is very true. But
Right.
like, kind of staying on that straight line creatively is like such a battle.
Right.
I knew you might have had a similar experience. My parents are like old school Irish people. Like mom was an English teacher.
Oh, okay.
Dad was in marketing for a bit, and then was basically like a banker, got into stocks.
Okay.
Very working class.
Yeah, so you got
citizens.
like a very straight edge type
Oh
of.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
Early days, they were like, my dad's like, this is not sustainable. You're gonna have to. His go-to line is he's like, we are working class Irish people, which basically means like you're gonna work till you die.
Yeah.
And now he's like, hey, Taylor Swift's going to Gillette. Do you think any way you can get me and your mom? We get some tickets.
Yeah, 100%.
Look at you, James.
Yeah.
Whole thing.
That's so funny. So I'm Irish too. I've been to
let's go.
Ireland
Here we
4
go.
times. My mom blames everything on being Irish.
Yes.
She's like,
Yep.
she hits a curb. I'm Irish. What do you expect? I'm like, Mom, what? She's so funny.
It's
and that's
hammered.
yeah.
We're Irish.
Yeah.
It's in our heritage.
And I ironically I had the exact opposite upbringing.
Really?
So my mom was kind of like, you can do anything. It doesn't matter. I just want you to be happy.
Yes.
And I would, I scored like 8 points in my high school game, and I was like, my mom was like, Ian, NBA is a real dream. If that's what you
Move
want,
over,
work for
LeBron.
it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I could have used a little bit more like, Ian, you're 5'8". Okay, you're running like an 8-second 40-yard dash. maybe basketball wasn't a thing.
You look impeccable for 5'8", by the way. All right, like in my eyes, you're like 6 foot.
Oh wow,
you know what I mean?
The energy in here is amazing.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like
This is
doesn't
great.
he? When he walked in and sat down, aren't you now like this is a 6 foot man?
Well, that's great. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
dude,
I feel like I'm always like afraid. That's another reason why I don't want to do the meet and greet. I don't want some people to be like, oh, you're 5'8". But I think that's the internet getting to me, you know.
100%.
I don't know if you ever end up on that side of TikTok where you just you see all the checklists of all the icks.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, so don't wear sandals.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what am I supposed to do in the summer? Just let my feet sweat 24/7?
Right, 100%.
They're like, ew, you're 5'8". And I'm like, well, this wasn't a choice.
Eat hot lobster
Yeah.
rolls.
I was like, my mom's like 4'10", so I'm happy that I managed to
you're
get
a
5'8".
giant when you go home.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god, that is unbelievable.
Oh, it's so
wow.
funny. But yeah, so I had the exact upbringing, and I think that's what makes it possible for me
Yeah.
to have that unwavering belief in myself.
Yeah.
And just like put this stuff out there and take those risks. So
Yep. What's your I'm always curious, what are you seeing in the marketplace, like on your feed? Like, what are you seeing that's like really hot and trendy? And then also out of your career now, what is next? Like, where are you looking to move and pivot towards?
Sure. So I would say like most of my pages, I mean, social media, the algorithm is so crazy specific.
Wild.
I mean, I think I looked up a pair of shoes and then like my next 9 ads were shoes. And I'm like, this is just TikTok. How does TikTok know I want shoes?
I paused because I didn't know what I was looking. It was kind of, my brain didn't wrap around what I was viewing. It was a woman breastfeeding.
Yeah.
The next 20 videos.
Breastfeeding.
Boobs and babies. And I'm like, can this even be on this app? I was like, I paused for 1 second because I couldn't make out what was. I was like, okay, that is what. Oh, swipe.
That's a whole boob. How did that happen?
Yeah, swipe.
Yeah. So I mean, I get an influx of like different things. So I usually tend to like go out of my way. So like when I check, like Ashley's stuff usually always comes up on my page. Your stuff comes up, Tommy's and stuff. But other than that, I'll go out of my way to look for other creators.
Nice, yeah.
So I definitely get a lot of all the local guys.
Yeah.
Because you guys are the ones I engage with the most with like comments and likes. And that's another thing too, is like, even if I watch stuff, I try not to like it too much because then that's all my page is. So
I almost wish we could like tailor that down
a little bit, there are like settings like on TikTok. I have like hashtags that I say like don't show this on my feed. And let me
that's
tell you,
smart.
the first thing it does is show me everything I just said don't show me.
Classic.
Yeah, like the tab used to be like click and hold and say not
Not
interest. Guess what? Here it is 5 more times.
Boom.
And it's like,
you like it now?
Yeah. Yeah, so I enjoy just a wide variety of content.
Yeah, okay,
and
I like that.
anything and everything. I mean, the more lighthearted, the better.
Yeah, 100%.
Politics is the first hashtag I have on there. Do not show me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what to do with the world. It's on fire, but I'm not a fireman.
Next video's like, tonight at the debate.
Yeah, exactly.
It is high stakes.
I think I blocked all the news channels because I was like, please stop it.
Yep.
And then, after... I don't want to say after this, but the whole intention behind me starting this as well was to try and market myself and build a brand around my name for my acting career.
Right.
And I use this example pretty often when people ask me this. If you look at someone like The Rock, whatever it is, 350 million followers on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. These brands used to pay tens of millions of dollars for a 30-second spot on ABC.
Right.
Now they're paying The Rock $10 million for an entire movie.
Right.
So they're saving their budget and they're getting 10 times the exposure by just saying, hey, Rock, make sure you plug the movie in your story and on your feed today.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty well aware that if it comes down to me and someone else, when it comes time for a role and they're like, we can't pick and choose, I hate to say it like this, but if I have a following and they don't, I might have a better chance because they're like, well, this guy can work at us as well.
Right.
And that's a value. So my intention really always was to try and transition back to the acting, but this has become so entertaining and fun for me.
Right.
And more importantly, I think my biggest flaw, but also the one thing I like the most is I have creative control.
Yeah.
That's the only thing with acting that's always tough because I have a tendency to challenge authority. So like directors like, you should go here. And I'm like,
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I like that move.
Yeah. That is what is the beauty of the times you and I grew up in is we have complete creative freedom. Whereas like if we grew up even like, if we were like in our 40s and 50s right now, back in our 20s, we'd have to go to the board of like 3 or 4 white dudes in Hollywood. Right. And if they hated you, you were done.
Yeah.
You'd go back to whatever the, banking or whatever the job might have been for life. Right. Whereas now it's like you can almost tailor your destiny.
That's one thing I know for sure is I could never work for somebody else again.
Yeah. Right.
It is the best feeling in the world. And I don't want to brag, But when you can
Brag,
wake up
please.
when you can wake up when you want, you're always in your sweatpants and
Yep.
you're walking around your house, and like life is like it's the best feeling in the world.
100%.
And I always knew that I wanted to work for myself, and I always knew I just liked the mundaneness of having to do a 9 to 5 for somebody else
Right.
to make 10 times what I am doing less the work.
Right.
But genuinely, like if anyone ever thinks to themselves, I think I have an idea, just please go for it.
Yeah.
Because I promise
like
you,
that.
it's going to make your life better. It's not about the money. It's not, but when you don't have to dictate your every move and decision
100%.
on someone else's timetable, like it's so bizarre to me when I reflect back. I'm like, I used to ask someone permission to go to the doctor. To take time off.
Yep.
They used to call me when I was no longer on the clock and say, "Can you get?" No.
Yeah, can't do it.
No, I can't.
Especially in that you transitioning from the sales world in, I'm sure banking is like
Oh, brutal.
I always was in like the tech. I was in, I was early days, the GM of a gym back home.
Okay.
So I was like heavy manager, hiring, firing.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
pivoted to the sales role in the tech space.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which was like tech, at least in Boston, is very like, oh, wear whatever you want. Like we have a slide and a ball pit and
Yeah,
cold brew
yeah,
on
yeah,
tap. And we don't come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Wednesdays we wear no pants. It's kind of quirky, but it makes us ourselves. You know what I mean? So there's never like that strict of rules. I can only imagine with banking, it was probably like suit and tie every day.
every day. Yep.
There's no sneaking out early.
Right.
You pack a Lunchables.
Right. And and they're trying to do everything to keep everything minimum, paper thin when it comes to employees, right? So I was a banker
Right.
who had to sell mortgages, credit cards, checking, savings,
Right.
IRAs, CDs, but I also had to work the teller line.
Oh, wow.
And it was, so I'm like, okay. They're like, well, you can sell over the teller line. And I'm like, I used to do it. But
Right.
then I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, if I'm going to the bank and I'm depositing my money, I don't want, and I was 20. I'm like, I'm a 50-year-old man.
Right.
I've got, millions of dollars in my account. I don't want a 20-year-old asking me what I'm doing with my
Right.
money. Just take that money and put it in my account,
Right.
please.
You
but-
should really refinance, man.
yeah. Have you ever thought about opening a CD at a whopping 0.5% for 48 months? It's like, no.
He's like, yeah, so have you ever been at the teller line and opened an account?
Oh, yeah.
And you've seen a copious amount of commas?
It's the worst.
Is it that?
Oh no, it's the best. When people will come because
And
then
they're like multimillionaires
Yeah.
that's just sitting at a bank.
yeah, it's the best in those moments because you feel like you're the big ham, you're the big cheese.
Right.
But the reality is they deposited $10 million.
Yeah.
The bank took that 10 million, invested it, turned it into billions. And by the way, you got $15 an hour in. Good
Yeah.
stuff, brother. And the commission's good. Oh, we actually need you to do another 100 million before we can give you commission.
Right, yes.
And we don't pay that out for 6 months.
Yeah.
So good luck on your rent this month. It's like,
Dude, what you just said right there is at least in the influencer space, a world that no one talks about. Like I always thought, if I put $1 in the bank, that exact dollar goes into my little drawer somewhere in the back vault and sits there. Not gets lended out 10 times, on the value of that dollar,
Right.
and then plays in the marketplace,
yeah, people. I think some people are
fascinating.
don't know that their money is constantly being used for that bank to
Yeah.
make money. They think, oh well, they're making billions of dollars in overdraft fees. Or like they are, but the other billions are coming from the fact that they're playing with your money in the market.
Totally.
That's why they have the FDIC has so many rules and regulations about deposit limits on
Yeah,
accounts.
right.
Because imagine they lose your $10 million and they can't you can't go and cash it out.
Right.
So-
And the crazier one is like, which I'm now probably in the last 2 years way more hip to. I used to be like, just keep every dollar you make, just keep it in the bank. Keep it in the bank. Don't do it. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Just keep it there.
Doesn't exist.
Not knowing that like, oh, bozo, like take it out, start acquiring assets, you idiot. Like
Right.
that money isn't actually even there anyway.
Right.
Like if I wanted to go get that out this second, I can't do it.
Right.
That space is so the finance world. That's almost probably, do you think you having kind of peeking behind the curtain in the finance world almost made you a little more like financially literate rather than if you just went from like Miami to the influencer space?
Right. Yeah. No, it definitely did. It just, I guess it helped me realize it's a class that should be taught.
Yeah.
It's a class that should be taught.
Yes.
Because I learned it all because I went through training, but a 20-year-old explaining to 35-year-olds how to apply for mortgages and what credit
Right.
cards are and how they work and what interest rates are is bizarre.
Right.
It's a bizarre thing. So I am definitely grateful that I am, like you're saying, literate in all of those facets, but it doesn't change much in the fact that it's like, checking and savings account.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the best way to go for a lot of people, because it's a ever changing environment, and all of regardless of the fact that every bank has now gotten the government come down on them for their sales tactics and everything going on. Everything at one point they're just gonna go right back to it. So they're like, hey, you should really get this credit card. If you ever hear that, take your money out and go to another bank.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're just trying to give you a number. And I say that spoken as someone who did that. And they'd be like, oh, this person's pre-qualified. I'm like, they're negative $10 in their account. I'm not going to tell them to get a credit card. Like it's a sales opportunity. It's an opportunity for this. No.
Because the bank wants them to take out even more money on credit.
Right.
So that interesting.
It's like they're in here because we overdrafted their account and charged them $40.
Right.
I'm not going to offer them a credit card. They're clearly not in a financial space right now. Like,
look at you with a moral compass.
You got to have a little bit of a moral compass, right? I mean, I don't know. I didn't grow up the most affluent or financially stable situation. Yep. So while money is valuable to me, it is kind of more like it's a necessity
100%
rather than like it's all I think about. It's like, no, if I can pay my bills and eat and take care, like I'm good. I don't need to be a millionaire.
Yeah, I love that. A question for you back on the acting side.
Yes.
What do you put together? Is it like in the influencer space, you have like a media kit?
Yeah.
Shows all your insights, like what you charge, yada, yada, yada. On the acting side, is it a sizzle reel? What do you put together?
Yeah, it's a reel.
And then do you blast that out to, like, I'm always fascinated. You put this reel together. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple questions built into this, but what's in that reel? And then where do I distribute said reel?
Yeah. So it's pretty simple. It's basically like a video resume. So you send over your regular stats, resume, height, weight, experience, all that stuff, where you're from, if you're SAG, not, and then you can attach your reel to that. Gotcha. And that reel will be a highlight of any films that you've been in, whether that's action, drama, comedy, romance, whatever the genre is. Usually you try and have multiple reels so that you can cater it to what you're applying for. Because it's like, we're looking for the next James Bond. Here's my love story.
It's you sitting like a whoopee cushion.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. It's like, but honestly, even then, and here's another thing that I hate to say this, but COVID made a good thing of is at-home auditions. Because now you have the ability to try different things. It's a lot less stressful, and you're not like being herded like a sheep. Like when you go to casting calls, you're literally on a bench
what are those
of
like?
50 guys, and like this is New England. Not only does every guy kind of already look alike, but imagine going to an audition where they're like, we need a 5'8" guy with brown hair and blue eyes. I'm like, okay, all of Boston shows up. So you just sit on this chair, and then you go in this room, and nobody looks up. They roll the camera and say name, weight, height, say the lines, next.
Really?
And then they send those cameras over to the directors. If there's a director or a casting person there, sometimes they'll give you. But now that you're doing it at home, you're not like strong-held. Like, okay, I have to do it angry. Let me try different.
Yeah, right.
And that part has made it good because then they're not just like, we're not just relying on a reel, because reels are hard to get and to put together. And producers, of course, shout out producers.
Yep.
They deserve their money for it, but it's most actors are struggling.
Yeah,
so it's like, if you're doing student films, you're not making money.
Right.
Or if you're doing short films or even just general background, you're not wealthy. So you can't really afford to spend $1,000 on a good reel.
This awesome reel. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting footage and copyrights is always a pain in the butt too. So
what's the duration of those? Like, are they like, how a resume like ideally is 1 page? Is there like your reel's ideally under
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
3 minutes is kind of what I've always gone with. Anything 3 minutes and under. I think the rule of thumb typically is like 5 minutes, but I mean, let's be honest. If they're looking at thousands of people,
they're not going to comb through.
So that's why it's so important that first video or first reel needs to like hit the nail on the head. So it's important to have someone.
Right.
So I honestly, just because of TikTok and my ability to edit, my brother is also a music producer.
Oh, fuck
so
yeah.
I spent a lot of time around computers, music, and how to use all that stuff. And my mom was a computer programmer. Like, I know how to just kind of like fix shit quick. So
God, mom is like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Actor.
Yeah.
Programmer.
She does it all.
That is unbelievable.
She does it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And 10 times funnier than I am. So
really?
Yeah. She's got a funny bone like you wouldn't believe.
So that's we should have done which would have been hilarious, a mother-son episode here,
oh, yeah.
That's really would have
been good.
That would have been good. Yeah. Ever since we started the show, my mom's like, I've had like my twin sister on.
Yeah.
So then like I'll get like my older sister is like, hey, saw the episode with Colleen. Love to swing
What's
in
up?
there. And
What's
same
the
with my
deal?
mom.
Yeah.
She's like, and I'm like, look at everyone coming around to the whole content idea. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, my mom did a video. My mom was in New Hampshire this past weekend. Like I said, she's like 4'10" and
Yep.
she's shrinking. And she was with her girlfriends and they had like an SUV. And she had them record her trying to get in the car.
God.
And she's like, I can't get my leg up. She's got these little stumpy. And then she calls me the next day. Where's my video? What do you mean? She goes, you didn't post it yet? I'm like, you want me to just post it on my TikTok? What do you think? She's like, yeah, post it. People are gonna friggin' love me.
Oh.
So,
That could be. I put together. I'll have to send this to you. I put together. It sounds like you talked about it earlier too.
Yeah.
I call it the content wheel.
Okay.
And it's literally a pie chart of all these segments you do online. You know, so like for me, it's like right now it's like relationship, accent, flip life, coffee, podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I'm getting low on like ideas, I'll go back to the wheel and I'm like, all right, just posted an accent. Just did some flip life stuff.
I love that.
You know, what have I not hit yet out of my
great.
like content pillar?
Yeah.
Mom could be a killer.
Yeah.
You know, 11% of that pie. You know?
100%. That's great. And I feel like I never thought about doing it like that, like the pie, but I try and do like similar stuff because you know how it is. It's like you have one or two viral videos of
Right.
a particular, like your accent
Yeah.
from the flip. And it's like, you feel like you have to entertain that scope of followers because they followed you for your flip, maybe
Exactly.
not for, you know, the accent stuff.
Right.
So it's like, I got to make sure
Right.
I fill that cup a little bit.
It just like keeps
interesting.
me fresh. I've been like sending it out to almost any creator we've had on the show. I'll send it out to afterwards because they'll be like, can I get that? And it's
Yeah.
nothing spectacular. It's literally just on Canva.
Yeah.
Picture an actual wheel. And then the background, of course, is like outer space, all these little stars and stuff. It's like all these little pillars. But
Yeah.
you can plug and play and enter in whatever your own, you know,
I like
pillars are.
that. That's cool. Yeah. Send it my way.
I will. I
That'd
definitely
be
will.
awesome.
It just keeps you fresh.
Yeah.
You know? Where can everyone find you? I want to make sure we plug you up fully. Where can they find you on all
just
socials?
because of the acting stuff, I operate under my full name. So it's first name's Ian, last name's Brownhill. So Ian Brownhill.
Yep.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, if anyone uses that.
Hello.
Yeah.
I know that was hot. And then it seems like it
Yeah.
really tapered off.
We
huh?
all went on there and we're like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is great.
And we're like,
Post it.
boo.
Yeah. And then, I haven't touched it really since. So.
How much do you hate Connecticut? Is Connecticut just the worst place? Connecticut
no, it's
blows.
not. Yeah, I've confessed this before, but I low-key love Connecticut.
Do you? Yeah.
At least up to like New Haven. Then it kind of splits.
Right.
Then it really kind of becomes New York.
What's that part when you're driving? The only time I've been in I've never stopped in Connecticut.
Yeah, most people don't.
Actually, yeah. I'll accelerate. I'll drive a little faster.
Yeah.
What is that? You're driving from, let's say, Boston to New York City.
Okay.
And there's that stretch of Connecticut. It's literally just 2 lanes, and then you come to that big tunnel in a hill.
Tunnel in a hill.
2 lanes, and it's just you're just on your way to New York City, and you're like on this like 2-lane parkway for so freaking long.
Yeah.
It's not like it's basically a highway.
I think that's a little bit after Bridgeport. So that's deep into Connecticut. That's New York as far as I'm concerned.
yeah.
That's almost New York.
Yeah.
It's like a really like it's almost like from Hartford down to New Haven to the, to the east is New England, and then to the I guess a little bit towards like the top of Hartford on the west side is still because it's so close to the top of Massachusetts, but yeah, I love Connecticut. I do. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I grew up in Westerly, which is right on the border.
Oh,
so
okay.
All my first
So
jobs
you
were
are-
Eastern Connecticut, Stonington, Mystic, Waterford.
Yeah.
My best friend lives in New London, Connecticut.
Yeah.
I got a couple buddies that work at Electric Boat over in
Yep,
Waterford
there we
and
go.
all that stuff. So Connecticut is a good spot. But, all things considered, it's the comedic part of it is the fact that it's so split because New Englanders identify with our sports. 80% of us do at least.
Yep, 100%.
And, we hate New York sports, and there's a lot of Connecticut people who are New York fans. So.
Your video that detached Connecticut on a whiteboard, it was not only like visually did it absolutely make sense, the comedic side of that was like brilliant. I was like, yes, we actually should.
Yeah.
Where can we?
Yeah.
Do we go to the town hall? How do we?
Do we need to rally people together?
Yeah.
I think we can get a protest
Like,
going.
where is Paul Revere when you need it? It just seemed like things were easier to protest back in the 18 whatevers, than
it's like you just had an idea, you went out, you started shouting, and everyone was like, yeah,
absolutely.
I like that.
I actually hate England. And taxes.
This is
Everyone's
all-
like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of what TikTok is now, right?
That is.
You just kind
maybe
of say
starts
it
on
and people
TikTok.
just start to, get after. But, I do have quite a bit of Connecticut followers. So it is always fun the engaging part of it where people get upset. I always feel bad because there is one or two where people are like, hey, I really like you, but this is starting to hurt my feelings. I'm like, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. But
Right.
also, like, it's a state. It's not you.
Right.
Like, I didn't say I hated
Relax.
you, Marianne. Like, I just said
Right.
Connecticut sucks. But
Like I'm from New Hampshire. New
Okay.
Hampshire gets shit on all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, don't say that.
And I'm like here's like the kicker too is like I'm from Rhode Island. I wouldn't say that like I'm a diehard Rhode Islander.
Right.
Like if I'm being honest and don't clip this.
Here we go.
Rhode Islanders. I mean Rhode Island as a whole is kind of overrated if I'm being honest.
Really? Here we go. Good
'Cause
hot take.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's beautiful. It really is, but it is incredibly small.
Yeah.
I think there's like I don't know the exact numbers, don't quote me, but there's like 52 towns.
Really?
We are so small. That is
52 towns in
yeah,
Rhode
it's like-
Island?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
Like even where I grew up in like Westerly, I technically grew up in Bradford, which is part of Westerly, and so
Okay.
is Hopkinton, and so is Ashaway, and it's like 10
Whoa,
square miles.
I didn't
Why
know
is
there
there
was. Yeah.
so there's like, and I had like my mom has its own zip code, like where my mom's home is,
Yep.
where I grew up. And it's like not even 2 miles from my high school, which is Westerly High School.
Right.
Like, so it doesn't,
That seems a little crazy. That is,
Yeah.
wow.
Right. And I
Holy
just,
hell.
again, Rhode Island's like the beaches are beautiful, but
Yeah.
the Westerly beaches get bombarded by New York and Connecticut. I
Right.
joke about it, but that's for real.
It's legit.
That's legit. And then, like Block Island is really just all tourists from not Rhode Island.
Right,
It's,
right.
and then the Rhode Islanders who are authentic live there year round. And Providence is good. The one thing I will say is Rhode Island food is
All
top
time?
tier.
Really?
Really good food.
Here we go.
It is incredibly good food. And like I'm Irish, but
Yep.
I mean I grew up eating Italian food. Rhode Island's
Okay,
Italian,
yeah.
so like
I mean, it was just dirty potatoes.
yeah, I was gonna say
Oh,
like,
these are great. Mashed.
yeah,
baked.
and corned beef and cabbage. I wouldn't even say is really like it's like a staple. It's like one of those. This is an Irish food, but I was like I've been to Ireland 4 times. Corned beef and cabbage is not like on the
Yeah,
menu.
right.
It's like
Just,
they've got regular old food,
yes.
burgers. I think like lamb stew was the only thing that I tried that I was like, oh, you don't see lamb too often in a
Right.
stew, and that was delicious.
It was
Shout out
scrumptious.
Dublin for that.
See?
I forget the name of the restaurant, but it was really
Hello.
good.
Wow.
Pretty jet lagged.
Yeah, see, I've never been. We're from Cork in Ireland, so my family's
love it.
My parents go quite a bit. I've never been.
Oh man,
I got to get over
it's
there.
listen, it's a cheaper and faster flight than going to LA.
Yeah. See, I
And
like
LA
that.
sucks,
Wow.
so.
Yeah. Boo LA.
Boo LA.
I'm with you on that, dude. Hot take on LA.
Boo.
Book you.
Yeah.
All right. Place is trash.
But I mean, it's 5 hours
Yeah.
from Boston,
That's a
and it's
great
a
point.
direct flight.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker about Ireland is like, are you going to Europe per se? Sure, but the reality is when you get dropped in there, it is no different. It is just Boston
Right.
people with an Irish accent.
Right.
That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
like being in Massachusetts. You go to Dublin, it's like being in Boston. It's crowded. It's multi-diverse. There's culture everywhere, but it's got that authentic Irish feel. And then you go out to Western Mass,
Yep.
and there are acres of open land,
Right,
and
right.
people are really friendly, and they're just like,
Sounds amazing.
yeah,
I gotta
and,
get out
and it's
there.
the best. I mean, it was picturesque. I saw a rainbow, and then I got stuck behind a herd of cows that were walking down the road. I was like,
Best day of my life.
I was like, if I accidentally hit a tree right now, and this is it, I'm happy.
Braveheart comes riding over a hill.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he was Scottish, but anyway, you get it. Wrong twice,
But
Kevin.
yeah, you should definitely go.
I gotta get over there.
It's the best. I went for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Which do they just call that?
Yeah, it's still
Wednesday?
yeah, pretty much.
Is that like the
yeah,
thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm not gonna lie. The St. Patrick's Day parade here, elite.
It is all time.
Because it is really a U.S. thing that
Yeah.
got invented, but they have kind of carried over and done it. Theirs was a little awkward. The parade itself was subpar, but the party before and after was
All
crazy.
time.
It was
Yeah.
dope. That was
See,
cool.
that's I will say in Boston that St. Patrick's Day parade. Holy shit! There are no rules.
You must be exhausted. Like when I watch those videos of you running around, and so I'm like, I don't know, how does he do that? Because that's got to be a couple hours.
I was so this one they extended the route. So normally the one 2 years ago was just down West Broadway.
Okay.
Which was like just the main drag in Southie, and then that's
Okay.
it. This one, freaking, we did West Broadway, Castle Island, then it loops back around the side roads. So it was 4 hours long.
Oh my god.
And we're on this float with a DJ on it.
Mm.
And dude, I've never felt so old in my life. I am one dead sober, probably the only dead sober person there.
Yep.
And I am dancing my heart out. The next day, I played sports growing up. You know,
Okay.
like post like for me, it was like post football game. My whole body would just be wrecked.
Yeah, absolutely.
I woke up the next day. I felt like that. My ankles hurt.
Yeah.
My knees, my lower back. I thought I blew out the right portion of my neck here
From screaming and
like
stuff.
I couldn't. From like crumping.
Yeah.
And like, when's the last time you popped, locked, and dropped it for 4 hours? Am I right? It was so
That is so
ridiculous. And there's no rules. Like I got tossed a mesh bag of nips.
Oh my gosh.
Which I was like, wow, what a gentleman, whoever did that.
That was great.
Ashley and I are up there. We chucked a couple back. My dumbass didn't realize there is, I think it's Jameson, whatever the nip is that's always served in a glass bottle. I think it was JMO. So now I am redistributing nips we built like this, like the DJ that we built this, like there's probably a couple hundred people behind the float also like just crumping their way down Broad Street. And so I'm throwing nips out. They're all plastic, not a big deal. Without even looking, I throw a nip. There's no one in that portion. It's glass.
Oh no.
Land shatters, and it shatters all over a police officer's boots.
No.
And then he looks at me, and I look around, I look over my left shoulder to the crowd, I go, come on, guys. We can't be, dude, come on.
Love that. Improv skills. See, you got it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got it.
I pointed at the officer, I'm like, oh, freaking idiots, man, right? God. I was like, get me up. The float's moving like one wheel turn per second. I was like, we're in front of that cop for so long.
Yeah. It's like the one time that the parade slows down.
Yeah.
Right
I'm like,
then.
wow, the marching band decided to take a break here, really?
Yeah.
Song 3. Let's go, guys. Keep it moving. Freaking ridiculous.
That's so great.
Oh, yeah. To conclude, I want you to channel a little bit of acting here. I want to channel your inner, what do you call that? Is it the New Englander? Like when you're getting in character?
Yeah, my New Englander.
We're going to do just a classic rapid fire.
Okay.
I'll blow out some Boston words.
Okay.
All you do is repeat it in your best New Englander accent.
All right, let's see what we got.
It'll volley for serve. It'll start easy.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Rapid fire. Chowder.
Chowder.
TD Garden.
GD Garden.
Bumper.
Bumper.
Muffler.
Muffler.
What do you call your flip-flops?
My flops.
Duncan's order.
Donkeys. Medium regular. Ice regular. Always.
Gloucester.
Gloucester.
Harper.
Ooh, Harper.
There it is. We'll end there. That's good. We always clip those because just like quick
Yeah.
back and forth. That's good. You have a great New Englander accent.
Thank you.
That is very impressive.
So I don't know if you know, there's this girl I follow. Her name's Ashley, and I just copy everything that she does.
Sucks. That girl. That girl's the
What's that name?
worst.
Is Tom Brady coming in here? Is that
Dude,
what I
it was
heard?
cold when I first. One of my first times going over her house was for was it Christmas Eve or was it Thanksgiving? I think it was Thanksgiving. And I walk in there, and it is your classic East Boston Italian. In East Boston, like culturally, no one moves out. So like picture your whole family and your grandparents staying in your childhood home, which is amazing. Everyone's there. Uncle Dino's upstairs. People are smoking in the kitchen. I was like, this place has no rules. And everyone talks like that. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is absolutely insane.
Right.
I was like, so this isn't, I was like, your accent's a little heavy. Yeah. And I was like, this must be some sort of like, even one-on-one. She'll say a word. She'll be like, Carter, but it'll be like, Kata. And I'm like, it's just you and I. You can kind of cut out the whole she gets all, but her whole family's like that. It's amazing. I'm like, it
is a very unique thing.
Crazy.
Add that to the list of unique things that New Englanders do. Yeah. And it's like so weird. You meet a bunch of people from Southie, nothing. And then you meet someone who are just, they're really happy. Like, never mind. Tommy and Chad are from Eastie. Those are Eastie guys. So.
Yeah. So they Ashley, they were, I think, a couple streets over from each other growing up.
Oh, okay.
So that's like the whole East Boston community over there. You go over the tunnel, and once you get in East Boston, it's like it might as well be a whole new world.
Yeah.
Might as well bring your passport because you're not in, I don't know where you are.
It's like you said, when with the hate comments, that's how I know. When Eastie and Southie enter the chat, I'm like,
oh yeah,
we're trending.
Here we go. And then you get a couple of Charlestown folk.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, we rob banks over here. Yeah. So I'm like, whoa, okay, the town. Take it easy. Yeah. Everybody relax.
And I've never met so many people who are so defensive of the fact that they're kind of like not speaking correctly. I'm like,
right.
That's illiteracy.
Aren't you guys all smoking Marlboro Reds? Can we freaking cut the shit? Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show
Yeah.
here. One more time, let's plug up. Where can everybody find you? And then anything else you want to plug, whatever you're,
No, just at Ian Brownhill, Ian.Brownhill on all social medias. And that's pretty much it. If you come through, you watch the page, you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the support always.
Ian Brown. I don't know if I've met an Ian in person. It's a phenomenal name. Fun fact for you.
We are unique.
Yeah, unbelievably attractive. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.